Hello everyone, Mr. Nacho here, and today I wanted to bring you the patch notes from the update and share with you all of the new weapons, what they do, how they look like. So without further ado, let's start. First of all, they have added crossplay. So finally you should be able to play with all of your friends, no matter on which console. And also I will paste the link to the patch notes right under the video, so you can go and read through them yourself if you like. And let's just start with the most important ones. Balance. When it comes to archetypes, the hunter gets the reduced hunter's focus ADS requirement from 1 second to half a second, which is huge, and it will finally be something that we can use. So I can't wait to try and test it. Then we have the challenger. Die Hard now grants 1 stack of bulwark while it's unavailable. It's its primary perk, so whenever you actually go down and get up from the challenger primary perk, you will get 1 stack of bulwark for the duration. I thought that it would be like 10 minutes, so yeah, it's exactly 10 minutes, so it will be a 10-minute long bulwark stack, which is great. And the other thing that is huge is the War Stomp now deals explosive damage, so you can combine it with the Arcan and the mod generation builds. You can make the explosions apply the fire dot and then use the Stone of Malevolence to increase the mod generation. So this should be fun as well. For handler, the pack hunter no longer requires companion to be up to grant the bonus. Now it also increases the melee damage and melee crit chance by 30% and 5% at max, which is great. So now you'll be able to make the handler melee builds, which I'm very interested in. And then the companion howl size now are affected by the aura size increase, which is, well, quality of life, it's decent. The gunslinger increased quick draw charges by 1 and increases the damage by 50%. So I think that we might be able to get some fun builds with the quick draw. We'll have to test how viable it is right now, but I see some huge potential right here. And there were some big changes to Summoner. So Dominator gains explosive damage type. Dominator no longer grants a damage increase to ranged melee on sacrifice, and Dominator now always grants a bonus mod skill explosive damage. This is nice. I think that Summoner can be a little bit stronger right now. I still don't think that it will be what makes or breaks the class, but we'll have to test it and see. Next, the Alchemist added melee speed and melee charge speed to Frenzy Dust. It's nice. Added skill reset if thrown vial does not find the ground after a certain period of time. This rarely happens, but okay. And enable flash caster and throw speed to benefit the vial skills. This is huge because previously they didn't benefit and it took the same amount of time, but right now you'll be able to cast them much faster, which is great. Next, let's go to the engineer. Added range damage to Metal Worker, the damage perk, and max at 25% at level 10. So now you'll be able to actually use the engineer as a ranged damage class, and the turrets can now critically strike. So that's great. When it comes to Arcan, increased the damage of Chaos Gate from 15 to 50%. This is insane, and we'll have to see what it actually means, but from the looks of it, it will be a huge increase. Chaos Gate now causes increased incoming damage by 15% and lasts 10 seconds after leaving. So you can actually go into the Chaos Gate, leave, and then for 10 seconds you'll have all of the benefits. Power Creep now probably allows mod generation while a mod is active, so this is very nice as well. We'll be able to generate mod power while a mod is active, so that's great. When it comes to Invader, some minor changes, but I think that they are very welcome ones. Stack of Shark prime perk now fall off one at a time. Before they used to just all disappear after 15 seconds, so this wasn't very good. If you forgot to dodge or run, then you were just basically out of luck. Reduce the total duration of Shark stacks from 10 seconds to 15 seconds per stack, and perfect dodges evade now instantly grant 5 stacks of Shark. This is great. I think that the Invader is now much more playable, and we'll just have to see how it feels to know for sure. Explorer dramatically sped up the dig animation of Gold Digger, which is insane. Previously, it required a ton of investment from amulets and fragments and rings and whatnot to actually be viable to use during the fight. But right now, it seems like they increased by 50%. So it's twice as fast as it was before. I think that there is some potential here as well. And Ritualist, Erupt now deals explosive damage. Deathwish now respects kinship trait again, but does not get reduced by armor. This is nice. You will not get as much damage from the Deathwish, and well, the Deathwish can no longer kill the player. Instead, it will leave them at 1 HP, which is great as well. Right here, there are all of the nerfs to the spread reduction, so that you can't really change the shotguns into sniper rifles anymore, but well, they'll have to see whether this needs to be capped or not. Then And finally, one of the most important changes, the Anguish fixed weapon scaling to probably cap at 3 times instead of 2 times at level 10. This is fantastic news. We'll finally be able to make some Anguish builds, so stay tuned for this. Crescent Moon overcharge shots during Moonlight Barrage no longer shoot 2 bolts. They will only shoot 2 bolts whenever you do a perfect shot. So, well, I think that it just became more skill-based weapon, but its damage capabilities are exactly the same, so it's not really a big change. Twisted Arbalest, primary fire now refreshes any current Guardian mark on hit while mod is active. Now this is okay. Nebula, Nanoswarm now applies a very small corrosive dot. This is huge because you'll just be able to apply a corrosive dot, so 10% damage increase on the boss, just passively by using the mod on Nebula, and it lasts quite a while, so this is great. Huntress Spear added a small corrosive dot on hit, increased projectile speed, increased charge speed, so Huntress Spear just got an all-around buff, and I'm really looking forward to playing with it. And Spectral Blade just got nerfed because they removed the ability to scale with the AoE aura traits. They said it was never intended, but well, it was fun while it lasted. Some other changes are that they fixed an issue where sequence shot max value was calculating incorrectly. So, well, the abuse of sequence shot on the bows and Savior is no longer. They also fixed the issue where the Twisting Wounds did not scale with duration, which is great because I love Twisting Wounds. So fixed an issue where the overloaded explosions could deal critical damage. As I've said, the dots are not really meant to crit. Right, so these are all of the important changes. If you want to read through all of them and also the UI and the enemy changes, then go ahead, there will be a link in the description. And now let's just go into the game and let's just look at the new weapon. All right, welcome to the game. It's all red because there is the event active, and let's go right into the weapons. How do you get the weapons? Well, you need to have the corrupted shards, which are the material that you get from killing the aberrations. There are plenty of aberrations going around right now, so you have a huge chance to get them. And the best way to farm them, and the mutators as well, if you didn't get them before, is to find a root nexus on the highest difficulty that you can manage, and then just leave it at like 15 to 20% HP, and it will keep spawning waves of enemies every now and then, and there is a huge chance that one of those enemies will be an aberration. So you can just chill there, kill the waves after they spawn, and then just have like a Netflix or something on the other screen and spend an hour or two farming. You will have enough to buy the new weapons. So if your resources are limited and you don't know which weapons to start with, I would highly recommend going with the Corrupted Arbalest. It's a fantastic weapon. I think that it's going to be one of the most broken ones from this patch. This is what it looks like, and here are its stats. This time it has 8 discs in the magazine, and it can only bounce once. So it can hit 2 enemies, but it has an insanely good mod, which says that it imbues the Arbalest with the power of Yasha's Corrupted Guardian, increases fire rate by 20%, reduces recoil and sway by 25%, and each disc impact with an enemy explodes over 3.5 meters for 300 damage and lasts 15 seconds. So let's see how it looks like. Yeah, so I think that if you actually build into it and also have the detonation trigger, then you'll be able to set everything on fire. Then you can use the Stone of Malevolence to gather all of the mod power that comes from it, and then just keep spamming explosions. It looks great. The next weapon that we have on our list is the long-awaited Corrupted Savior, and this time this is how it works. It has 50 rounds in a magazine, and the Black Crystal weapon, which increases fire rate as mod power is generated. Mod power slowly drains after 2 seconds of not dealing damage, and whenever you activate the mod, it actually funnels all the mod charges. There is up to 5 mod charges that you can have, and it fires a powerful beam. So the more that it fires, the better it gets. Once you stop firing, the mod power will be drained slowly, and whenever you use the mod, you just go back to 0 and you have to stack it up once again. So let's see how it does. We have 1 stack. As you can see, it started firing faster and even faster. Again, and faster and faster. We are at 5 stacks right now, so we'll use the mod. And again, we are at 0, so we'll have to just restack all of the stacks again. I'm not sure whether you even want to use the mod at all. I would say that you want to build it as a gun. and then only use the mod to finish something off. You can see that decay is not really very fast, so you'll be able to keep up the stacks for quite a while, and the weapon itself is very, very good. I'm going to do some more testing with it and provide you guys with some builds in the coming days, so stay tuned for that. And as you can see, it just goes stack by stack, not losing everything at once, so you have plenty of time between engagements to keep the stacks high. The next weapon that we have is the Corrupted Cube Gun, which is a very interesting weapon. I'm not really sure how to best utilize it, but then again, I'm not sure what to do with the regular cube gun either. So what it does, it's a fusion charged autocannon that generates cubes that penetrate. It has infinite ammo, and it can overheat. The bad thing about it is that it cannot score weak spot hits, but it is what it is. So you'll be able to use something like the supercharger on it or the ingenuity for overheat. It just depends what you prefer. And the mod says it's a cube room, conjures a 5-meter anomalous cube room, which grants allies an increase of 50% hit decay rate, reduces hit generation per round when firing weapons that can overheat by 15%, and automatically generates missing reserve ammo per second. And it lasts 15 seconds. Let's see how it looks like. This is going to be very decent against groups, and as a secondary it should be very fine. And let's see the mod. As you can see, it doesn't follow you as with the normal cube gun, it just stays in place, but it affects your allies as well, so this is some trade-off that you have to take into consideration. It seems fun. We'll have to test a little bit more to know more. The next weapon that we have on the list, which is a big shock for me, is the Corrupted Sorrow. It's basically regular Sorrow, but it can also affect your allies. So what it does is it has a mod called Will of the Wisp, and it says launches a wisp that uniquely sticks to one anchored primary fire bolt location. Bolts anchored to enemies deal 657.3 damage per wisp. Bolts anchored to allies heal 10% max health per wisp. Bolts are consumed when impacted by a wisp. So you should be, in theory, just able to shoot the enemy, also shoot your allies, and the wisps, as you can see, some of them go for the enemy, some of them go for allies, and the enemies will be damaged, allies will be healed. This would be perfect whenever you are playing with someone who has a melee playstyle, so that you don't really harm your allies, but you also heal them, and you can damage the enemies as well. So this would be actually a very fun way to play, I think. We'll just have to do some more testing to confirm. And last but not least, my absolute favorite in this update is the Corrupted Nebula. It's a semi-automatic lesser weapon. Weak spot hits and kills create a nanobot for 8 seconds that 6 enemies within 20 meters and repeatedly attacks, dealing 20 acid damage per hit and max 5 nanobots. So if you just do normal shots, as you can see, it deals acid damage, so you can just spec into elemental damage by default. But whenever you do a weak spot damage or whenever you kill something, it will summon a nanobot that will just keep attacking the enemy for 8 seconds. And also you can have, I think, up to 8 nanobots. And whenever they are all on the target, you can activate the mod to explode them and apply corroded to all of the enemies in the range. I really think that it's a neat idea. You can see that the mod generation on this is very, very fast. So you can actually spam the explosions. Again, with the detonation trigger and Stone of Malevolence, you can do some nice dot damage. And the gun by itself is really nice as well. It doesn't really have a travel time, so this is something I appreciate a lot. It doesn't really do the biggest damage, but I think that it will be a perfect secondary to run. The regular Nebula right now, after the updates, also is great because the Nano Swarm, so the mod that you activate, also applies Corroded, which is great. So this is the showcase of all of the new weapons. I would say that the best ones are the Corrupted Nebula, Corrupted Arbalest, and then the Corrupted Savior. I would buy them in this order. you are welcome to do whatever you like. The two others, I will have to do some more testing on them. They just seem like a fun gimmick, but not really something that you'd be using a lot. Anyway, let me know which one of those guns you like the most, and let me know which one you would like to see a build on as a first one. I'll try to get it to work as soon as possible, and as always, have a great day.